Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to our post-race media conference for our Saturday race of the Gold Coast Armour All 600. Fantastic race with our third different fuel strategy this year. Had us all thinking about what the end result might be, but it was as follows. In third place for Pepsi Max Crew FPR and Ford, Mark Winterbottom and Steve Richards. Second place for Techno Autosports and Team VIP, Shane Van Gisbergen and Jeroen Bleekemolen. Jeroen being the first Dutchman on a podium for a V8 supercar event. And scoring the race win for Red Bull Racing Australia, Warren Luff and Craig Lowndes. Lounsey recording race win number 93 in his career, number 4 in the year, and on the 35th anniversary of Holden Commodore in Australia. A fantastic result. I'll start with you, Lounsey. 93 career wins. You might not have had a better one than that one, because that really has changed the championship point score now in your favour, finally.
Yeah, I think that's this weekend's always been a bit of Achilles' heel, and I've been saying that it'll lead into this weekend. So it's nice to finally have a good run. Shane had really good pace in that second last stint. JJ had told me that both of us were on the same strategy with fuel and everything else. So we were hoping to have a quicker last stop, which we end up being. We had, I think, a 4 or 5 second gap as we exit the pits for the last time, and then of course. We only put rears on, imbalanced the car for the first couple of laps, but had too much understeer. But once the rear tyre settled down, I think we had really good pace and were able to just flow the car. And we had really good run through traffic, so we were able to sort of maintain that gap. And then as it started to blow out, we could sort of really look after the car and not take too many risks over the curves. But it's nice to finally be back up on the podium here, because it is a track that I enjoy. Just haven't had in the past, just haven't had a good run. So. And Warren did a fantastic job, because he wasn't supposed to be in the car for as long as he was. He was going to do his 34 or 5 laps, and then we're going to get him out. But of course, the way with the safety cars and the strategy turned out that he basically did a stint and a half, which was fantastic.
You just answered my next question. I was going to ask you, did you actually stick to anything like the strategy you'd predetermined? Luffy, co-driving at Sandown and Bathurst is all about rhythm, consistency. You've got a lot of space to use, but co-driving around here, slightly different challenge.
Mate, it's pretty wild around here, and look, as Craig said, we sort of things didn't quite go to plan early on. We had a puncture sort of early on in my stint, which kind of threw us a little bit out of our window in terms of what we were hoping to be able to do in the race. And I must say, when we got that puncture, I sort of thought that any hope of a good result was definitely out the window. But full credit to the boys, and obviously to Craig, to be able to sort of to still come out on top and get a win is fantastic. And look, for me, it's my home race as well. So it's nice to stand on that top step and get a surfboard.
I should make mention of the fact that it was your second race win as well. So the 15th winner of the year, we can add you to the list. Shane, post the shootout today, I wandered down pit lane, and 5 minutes before the cars were leaving for pit lane, there was still corner weights being done. Obviously, it was a close run thing, but what a great way to repay the team for putting the effort they put in to get that car ready.
Yeah, it was my mistake in the shootout. We had a pretty good chance for a top 3 qualifying, I thought, and I just simply made a mistake, so quite a lot of damage, and they did a great job to fix it up. And right from the start, the car was good, and Jeroen did a pretty great job, and he led for quite a lot of laps. It was really good to see. And then I jumped in, and there was so many different strategies, people on different tyres and stuff like that. And at the safety car, we had to pit to get the required amount of fuel, and we came out with Craig, and I knew I was racing him, so we managed to pass him on track. And then at the end, he obviously jumped us at the stop with rears, but with rears, I thought I had a shot at him, caught him for a couple of laps, but then he got going as his car, I guess, balanced out. But his pace was unreal for rears only. It was really impressive.
Were you surprised that the margin grew so much from the last stop to coming out of the pits being some 4.5 seconds behind?
I knew we had to take more fuel on, but I didn't think it was 5 seconds worth, and the gap closed pretty quickly initially. But I thought we might be a little bit closer, but his pace was too good anyway.
Well done. Jeroen, you would have known coming to Australia that you were going to be driving alongside a fairly capable young racing driver with a semi-Dutch heritage, I'd imagine, being a Van Gisbergen. But did you dream of a second-place finish?
No, well, dreaming, of course, but it actually happened today. So it's just a great result. The team did a great job with strategy, and Shane drove really well. I mean, I had a good race. I was fighting in the lead, of course, because other people pitted, but still I had a really good fight with Berto for the lead. Hung on to it, and then when Shane took over, he passed so many cars on track. So I knew we were in there for a good result, and just great to be on the podium here, and hopefully we have another shot at it tomorrow.
Sandown to Bathurst, Bathurst to the Gold Coast. This will now be your favourite track of the 3, I'd imagine.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's hard to be Bathurst, to be honest, but yeah, it's such a nice series. The racing is incredible. Again today, I had so much fun. I mean, I race all over the world, but this is one of the best. I think the best racing actually. If you just look at the fight you have and how close everything is, there are no amateur drivers out here. It's all professionals. They're all really good. So it's tough for us to come over and do a good job, but it's a lot of fun, and this is very rewarding.
Have you identified the beach you'll use the surfboard at yet?
No, well, actually, I live close to the beach, so but I don't know how to surf yet. But I think I'll go and learn now.
Luffy will teach you. He's got the surfy good looks. Frosty and Steve, how different would your race result have potentially been without that unplanned pit stop, which was obviously not a pit stop you needed in the end for the loose window?
Yeah, it was. I don't know what happened. It just popped out, and the mirror, the window popped out, and driving down the straight, I don't know what happened, but I can't believe the car's finished. This track is so brutal. You're bouncing off things, and you're pushing tyres out of the way, and those sleepers in the track are just. I can't believe we had so many cars finished because it's such a brutal track, and to go fast, you have to be brutal. So. You know, it ended up being a good result. We could have ended up out of sequence, but we had to pit early and ended up where we did. So thankfully we brought it home. We had a tyre bundle with 3 to go, and just the car looks like it's an absolute mess. I can't believe it finished, so good to get home.
I'll ask you, Richo, from 14th on the grid, was a podium something you were going to be content with at the start of that race?
Oh, you never say never, mate. You just got to hang in there. You know, the early parts of the race were really tough, as all the co-drivers would find. You know, it's you know, you just got to not make a mistake, and when the field concertina's up, try and give yourself a bit of room, but not get punted in the back, and just be a bit conservative sometimes. But then again, you have to attack when there's an opportunity. So, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the outcome, actually. I think Frosty did his best in the last 3 laps to stick it against the wall, but we got it home.
You should be pleased because you're now just 49 points, Frosty, off the championship points lead. In fact, the top 3 cars are covered by 49 points. Craig Lowndes now assumes the championship points lead on 2,459. 36 points clear of Jamie Whincup on 2,423, and Mark Winterbottom 2,410. Will Davison still sits in 4th. That's a manual calculation because I'm sure everybody's well aware that the timing wasn't particularly kind to a slate race. Okay, some questions for our 6 assembled drivers, please.
Craig, now that you've moved into the lead, is this your best chance to get that elusive 4th championship?
Well, you'd say that, yes. I think that's. I think a couple of years ago we came into this weekend leading the championship. We went out of the backside of it in 2nd, I think it was. So, and then we lost it from there. But as I said, this has always been the bogey round for me, and never had a good clean run throughout. And you know where we are right now, it's fantastic. You know, it's disappointing obviously for Jamie because he never got a chance to get in the car. I know that he's got speed in there, and no doubt tomorrow he'll bounce back. It's something that. You know, there was the first altercation, obviously, with PD and Murph, and then I think there was a mechanical issue. He said he lost drive, so whether it's a drive shaft or a gearbox or transaxle, I don't know yet, but he lost drive, and that's one of those things we'll just have to analyse tonight, make sure that both cars don't suffer it tomorrow. But yeah, look, it is the best shot they've had in a long time.
Was Craig, whoever, how much time do you reckon you lost with that puncher? I know it was an opportune time with the pits coming up. And the second part of the question for Craig, how is your tyre situation for tomorrow, given you lost 2 yesterday and you've got a puncher today?
Well, I first noticed the puncture sort of going into turn 1, and it didn't quite feel right. And then coming out of turn 4 onto the back straight, I was like, yeah, something's not real flash here. And arrived at the back beach chicane and sort of arrived there sort of half sideways and pretending I was back at Movie World trying to do some stunts or something. So certainly got the adrenaline up and just obviously had to sort of limp it around. It's one of those things at the time when you've got a puncture, you're trying to get back to the pits as fast as you can to try and minimise track loss. But you don't want to try and go too fast and have it end up doing more damage than what it's already done. So it definitely cost us a fair amount of time. What it ultimately cost us, I've got no idea.
Yeah, I think we're still okay with tyres. I think that JJ was pretty stern about not destroying any tyres with burnouts today, so I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve. But yeah, look, it's disappointing that we've lost 2 tyres yesterday. So it's one of those things that I think they were our bogey set that obviously we all got. So it does obviously tightens the belt for tomorrow in the amount how many times we can have a crack at qualifying. But look, I'm sure that we'll do our best, and then we'll make sure we're hopefully in the front end of the field somewhere that we can put on another good performance.
Shane, you were closing the gap with consecutive fastest laps from about 92 on, and you closed the gap by about half a second a lap to Craig, and then seemed to button off. Was it fuel or tyres that were brought you to a stop?
Yeah, the pace was really good, but as I said before, Craig just got going, I guess, as his car balanced out, and then the times got only 2/10 quicker, and then we were doing the same lap times, and yeah, I blew my tyres off. I was pushing really hard because I thought we'd have a shot, but you know, he was pretty impressive for just taking 2 tyres.
Mark, how do you feel? How do you feel about your championship prospects now?
It was definitely a boost, you'd call it, but yeah, it's good. We're within striking distance. It's under 50 points. You know, you look back to Texas, it was 460 points, I think it was. So yeah, it's obviously a good thing to get back within 50, and even Will, you know, he's close up the gap too. So all 4 blokes now probably licking their lips, thinking they can win this thing. So tomorrow's going to be a big day, you know, for points and stuff, and then Phillip Island and Homebush is the danger round where there's a lot of concrete again and things that you can hit. So get through tomorrow and the last 2 in Sydney. It's going to be a good fight, I think. You know, we're pretty happy with the outcome today for sure.
This is a bit of a general question. Considering the amount of damage the cars have suffered today, is the track appropriate for the cars? Is turn 1 and the back chicane now too quick? What are your thoughts? Or just leave it as is, or does it require some sort of redesign?
Actually, well, I don't know. There's rumours around that they'll think about changing the design for next year. So it's, you know, not sure if that's the case, but you know, definitely the curbs are quite aggressive. I think Luffy said that Coulthard, I think was it, that ripped the front end out doing the same thing as I did yesterday. So it's those inside blocks are quite aggressive if you get it wrong. I think the back chicane was designed for the Indy cars, and I think that's you know, when they redesigned it not long ago, obviously taking out all the back down that bottom section, it's you know, it tightened up the circuit because it took out a couple of passing opportunities. It'd be nice if they could redesign it, open it up a bit more.
Regardless, yeah. You go away. I think we brought about 6 sets of rims, and we'll go home with potentially 3. So you just, even without having a crash, your rims are bent. They're pretty much destroyed. But you know, the one slight mistake, like what Shane did in the shootout, it's a massive consequence for a very small mistake. So, but you know, we're always trying to pressure them to do things. Those sensors are just silly. They don't, you know, it depends if your car gets on 2 wheels, how high it gets is how it triggers the beacon. So you've got to scrap that. But I think the tyre bundles were probably a safer option after everything that we've tried. Those sleepers they just rip the front end of the car out, and you know, we've gone through arms and everything in the car just purely from a slight mistake, which would be normally driving up an escape road. So yeah, they're not the best.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I found out how tough the curbs are this morning, but that's where the time is in the chicanes. If you want to go faster, you just hit the curbs harder, and you know, that's what I was doing all through practice. That was my weak spot, and it feels so bad on the car, but to go faster, you got to do it harder. And you know, we've wrecked so many brims already, and it doesn't feel nice. But you know, you go back to tyre bundles, you have them all across the track again. So I don't know what you do.
Jeroen, you had a good weekend last weekend. You won the GTC component of the American Le Mans Series. Last week we had a pretty sad situation just up the road from here with Sean Edwards. Can you just tell us a little bit about the pact you had with Sean?
Yeah, basically we were best friends. We hang out a lot. We drove many races together, and even outside the track we were still best friends. So yeah, it's been really hard. Last week I was crying in the race car even during the race. So this week was a lot better already, and it was actually really good to have a fight today for the lead with Berto, because he knew him well too. So yeah, I'm sure somehow he was smiling at us. I texted Berto right away after my stint. You know, we had so much fun. It was a hard fight, but fair. And yeah, it gave me straight. It was just good to have a good race again. But he was a great guy, one of the best endurance racers, but also a sprint racer. He could do anything. And yeah, it's just sad that he's gone. Yeah, I still feel really bad about it. But yeah, hopefully time will cure it a little bit. And yeah, he's going to be missed.
Okay, we might call that a wrap. Just to recap, Warren Luff scores career win number 2, Craig Lowndes career win number 93, and moves into the championship points lead on the anniversary of the Holden Commodore. Well done, guys. See you again tomorrow.